everyone, it's Lisa. Today I'm going to be using this shaker kit. It's the Mom Shaker kit from Queen & Company. I purchased this at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo back in Orlando in May. I think I purchased it for like $20. They had a sale after one of their workshops, and this was where I got it. Was after their workshop. They had like a trunk sale, or one of their Queen & Company, I don't know what they call it, but one of those trunk show sales, and I picked it up. So let me just show you what's in the kit. It's really a mom kit, but you don't have to use it for mom. You can really use it for any type of feminine card, I think, because it has some feminine type shakers in it. But it includes a stamp set. It includes the foam pieces, and it also includes some dies and the acetate pieces. So let's look at the dies first. It has this mixing bowl die. So if there's somebody that loves to cook, you can use that. It has the actual mixing bowl, the machine part, as well as the bowl that you can put right underneath the mixer. And it also has a purse, and it has an apron. And then this die is like a scalloped oval, and it says Mom inside of there. And then it has a stamp set. It says Mom's secret ingredient is always love. Mixing up a batch of thanks. I hope your day is fabulous. Thank you for all that you do. Mom's kitchen, where sweet things happen. You are wonderful in every way. Grandma's season, everything with love, and happy Mother's Day. So there's 3 of each foam piece, and then you also have the acetate pieces to go along with the shaker. It does not include any shaker bits, but I do have some that I have in my stash, which I'll be using, and Queen & Company does sell their shaker bits on their website. I am also going to be incorporating some of these foundation dies. I also had picked up the foundation dies 1 and 2 while I was at the Scrapbook Expo. And I will be incorporating some of these. I think I picked these up for probably $20 or $25. I don't recall how much, but I will be using some of these dies. And these dies are really nice. As I was picking one of these up, they're pretty thick, and they seem like they're pretty good quality. So I'm excited to use those and incorporate them into the card. The foundation dies 1, you can see it has a lot of these circles, and it has some of these rectangular shapes and the tag. And then these dies, let me just kind of scan through those. And then the foundation dies 2 has some of the banner dies. I got this for this big banner die because I really love that. And you can see some of these scalloped rectangle, and some more banner dies, hearts and stars and flowers. I'm going to be making 4 cards with this kit, 1 for each of the shaker pieces that is included in the kit. And I am going to start off with, I'll be using the Echo Park paper pad. It's the Spring Fling collection, and there's some beautiful spring patterns in this collection. And for this first card, I'm going to start with the boots. And I'm also going to use some of the solids, which is the pink solid as well as the green solid. And I went ahead and cut down some of those pieces of pattern paper. And I've used the foundation dies, which are these 2 pieces from the foundation dies 1 to cut these pieces. So the pink with the larger, and then the smaller is with the green. And then I used a rectangle die from the Stamps of Life to cut out a rectangle piece of the paper with the boots on it. And for the card base, I am using an A2 size card base, which I'm using some pink cardstock. And this is just a simple Recollections cardstock from Michaels. And I cut it down, scored it in the middle to make an A2 size card. And I'm going to be layering these pieces on. All right, so but to start off, I'm going to take the first layering piece and I am going to add these decorative pieces on the back. So I'm going to use some glue, applying some liquid glue. And then this pink piece is going to just go directly on top. Making sure that you have about as equal blue on the top as you do on the bottom. So above and below the pink piece. And then I'm just going to flip this over and I'm going to cut off the extra paper that's hanging off the side. And I'm just going to press that down really well. Next, I'm going to take my shaker piece, which is the one of the purse, and I'm going to take out the insides. These are the pieces that we're not going to use, but we can save those for if we need to, have some foam tape for another project. So we'll put those aside and make sure we save those. So this is the piece of the purse, the shaker piece that we are going to be using. I'm going to use that same green cardstock or pattern. This is actually the pattern paper that I had used for this part of the card. And I'm going to take my die cut piece of my purse and I am going to run this through the die cut machine because this piece will be the piece that lays over top of this die cut to cover up the foam. So now I'm going to take another piece of pattern paper from that same paper pad, and this is going to be used as the background piece of my shaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off. You'll notice that this foam is double-sided adhesive. It's kind of like double-sided tape, so it doesn't really matter which side you pull off first. But I'm going to go ahead and pull off one of the backings, and it is sticky. And I'm going to lay this down on my pattern paper. And now I'm ready to put the shaker bits in. And the shaker bits that I'm going to use are from Queen & Company. They're these little crystal bits. They do sell these. And I've chosen to incorporate some of the same colors that are in these rain boots. So I've got the red, the pink, I have the yellow. I don't have any in my stash that represent this bluish green color, but I am going to use the crystal because I have some white within the card. So I'm using all the similar colors. So I'm just going to sprinkle these inside. And then after I've done that, I'm going to take my acetate, and this is my acetate. I don't know if you can see it very well, but they're already pre-cut for you. And I'm going to peel off the top layer. Now this is sticky. You want to be careful not that you don't get these shaker bits stuck to the sticky part. If you do, you'll just have to try and get those off with your fingertip. And then lay this directly on top. And now there's my shaker, okay? And then I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'm going to trim the paper around this shaker piece. To finish off this shaker, I'm going to take this piece that I previously die cut, and I'm going to take my glue, and I do recommend using the glue, the liquid glue, to put these top pieces on just because they're so thin, it will be difficult to get the tape on there. And then just lay that down directly on top, press down, and there's my shaker piece. Now I'm going to take the same piece of this plaid pattern paper, and I'm going to use this die cut piece that was in the package. This is for the flap of the purse, so I'm just going to die cut it out with the same paper. So now I have that piece die cut, and I'm just going to add some glue to the back. And I'm going to adhere that directly on the front of the purse. Next, I'm going to take one of these adhesive embellishments. They're called Goosebumps from Queen & Company, and these match perfectly. And I'm just going to take one, and I'm going to add this as a little clasp on the purse. Next, I'm going to take this layered piece, and I went ahead and put double-sided adhesive on the back, and I'm just going to peel that up, and I'm going to attach this to my card base. Next, I took this foundation die, also from the Foundation Dies 1, and I used the same plaid pattern paper, and I cut that out. And I am going to set the card base aside. I also took a circle die from the Foundation Dies, and I cut the circle out of white cardstock, and I'm going to layer these directly on, just so that the scallop piece is shown. It just gives a little bit of a nice accent to that white circle. Next, my shaker piece is going to go right on top of that. So I'm going to put some score tape on the back of the shaker. And I'm going to set that right in the center. So usually I would put a sentiment on the outside, but I think that the outside of this card has enough on it. I think there's a lot of different things going on with the patterns, and then you have the layers as well as the shaker piece. So I'm going to add to this inside of the card, I'm adding the sentiment, I hope your day is fabulous. And I am going to be using my VersaFine black ink to ink up this stamp. Just going to stamp that right down in the middle. And then I'm going to just take these embellishments once again, and I'm just going to add them, just a little bit more bling to the inside of the card. And there's my card. So for this next card, I'm going to be using the Echo Park 6x6 paper pad Sweet Summertime. And the papers that I'm going to be using are this paper as well as this red paper. And I may come back and use some other papers, but we'll have to see how it goes. And I'm also using a piece of red cardstock. This is the Michaels Recollections cardstock. I just made it into an A2 size card base and scored it down the middle, and it's a top folding card base. So I'm going to be using at least one die, maybe more, we'll see, of this Foundation Dies 2 from Queen & Company. I'm going to use this banner die right here. And I'm also going to be using a rectangular die from the Stamps of Life to cut out a layer from this pattern paper. And this red pattern paper will be cut with this banner die. So here's the pieces that I die cut out. This is the rectangular piece and the banner piece, and I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to attach these pieces together. And I want to make sure that these points don't go past this piece of cardstock. So I'm going to put that a little bit up. And I'll just have to trim that part off. So I just flip that over and I'm just going to cut off this excess piece. So I put double-sided adhesive on the back of that piece, and I'm going to layer this onto the front of the A2 size card base. So next I'm going to take the foam piece. This is the apron foam piece, and I'm going to take the middle out. Save this because you can use that for if you need foam tape. And this is the piece we're going to be using. I took another piece of paper from that same paper pad, and I am going to just take the double side off the back, and it will adhere directly onto this pattern paper. Make sure you adhere it straight so that those lines are perfectly straight. In this case, they are diagonal because that's the shape of the paper. Now we're gonna fill the inside of the shaker, and I'm using some shaker bits that I got from a Queen & Company class that I took at the Stampin' Scrapbook Expo at one point in time. So I think these colors go well with the papers, so I'm gonna go ahead and use them. So we fill the shaker, and then we peel up the top adhesive layer, and we apply the acetate directly on top of that. And then, just like with the others, we now cut around. So now I'm going to take a solid piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use this apron die cut that came with the kit to cut out the outside to layer on top. Now this piece of cardstock, it's from the previous card that I did. It's not with the same collection of paper, but it matches perfectly. So I'm going to cut that out. And now I'm going to adhere that piece to the card. So I'm going to put glue on just this bottom part, not on the top neckline. And I'm just going to use the liquid glue. It works better than the tape. So next I cut out a banner using yellow cardstock from the banner from the Foundation Dies 2. And I have a sentiment. It says, "Thanks for all you do." It is from the same kit. And I'm using this is Strawberry Color Box ink. It's from the Stamps of Life. It's Stephanie Barnard. And I'm going to stamp directly onto that banner. I also took out the next size up on the banner, and I cut out a piece of the red cardstock, which is the same as the card base. So these banners are neat because they actually layer on top of each other, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is just layer these pieces. That way a little bit of red is sticking out underneath, which gives it a little bit of an accent. So I'm simply just going to glue this directly on top. Next I'm going to take some foam tape. This is the extra that we had left over, and I'm just going to cut it down. And I'm going to apply it to the back of this banner die. This is going to pop up on the card, so I'll just take the adhesive off the back, or the liner I should say, off the back, and I'm going to add this to the bottom of this card. And the reason why I'm adding this first is because I want to make sure that I'm putting it just right so that I have room so that part of this banner is showing through at the bottom. Because then once I add this, I didn't want to add it too low. Now I can center it within the space that I have left. Now I added double-sided adhesive to the back. I just put some tape on there, double-sided tape. And I'm going to add this to the front of my card. So next on this card, I'm going to take some of these sequins that I used on the inside of the shaker. and I'm going to just attach them to the outside of the card. So I'm going to try and match them up with the shapes that are on that pattern paper, and I'm just going to attach those with glue, and that just adds a little bit of bling and everything matches. So any of your shaker bits can be added to your card. And there's the card. For my next card, I will be also using this Echo Park Spring Fling paper pad, and I'm using a card base cut out of a light blue cardstock. It's the Michael's Recollections cardstock, and I just made this into an A2 size. I'm going to be using the Mom, that's what this die is. This is the shaker bit for the Queen & Company shaker card. So I'm going to be using that for this particular card. Next, I am taking a piece of the pattern paper from that paper pad, and I used my rectangle die from the Stamps of Life, and I'm going to make that first layer. I also took a dotted oval die from the Stamps of Life, and I cut that out with the same paper as the card base so that it matched, and that's going to layer right on top of that first layer. I also took a smaller sized dotted oval, so you could see they fit right in between each other. They're used for layering pieces. So I took a smaller sized one and I cut out another sheet of paper, which I'm going to layer right on top of that. That paper is from the 8x8 paper pad from Echo Park, the dots and stripes. So that's where I got that paper from. And I will go ahead and start putting these layers down. I added the double-sided adhesive to the back. I'll just peel that up and add my layers. Next, I'm going to take the oval piece of foam that was in the shaker kit, take the middle out, keep that. You can use that for the foam tape if you need. Going to get a white piece of cardstock, take the adhesive off the back of the oval, adhere it down to the white piece of cardstock, and now I'm ready to fill my shaker. So for the shaker bits, I again tried to use some of the same colors that are in the pattern paper. The oranges, the reds, the yellow, and obviously the clear crystal, the white. And I also have some of these little flower shaker pieces. These are also Queen & Company. These I picked up at a class that I took with Queen & Company at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo back in Orlando. So they have stars in them and circular shapes and hearts. I just picked out the flowers since I want to stay with the flower theme, and I'll incorporate some of those into my shaker. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start emptying some of these shaker bits. So I'm going to peel back this top layer, which is going to reveal the stickiness, and I'm going to put the acetate that matches this oval shape. Just got to get that flower right off of that stickiness. And attach that down, and then just come in with my scissors and trim the excess white off of this oval. Next, I added double-sided tape adhesive on the back, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this straight down into the middle. Okay, then I have this mom die, which I already die cut the pattern paper or the paper that I want to use. So you have the mom die, which goes on top of this. And once it's cut out, it looks just like this. So I did that with just some pink pattern paper that was in the same Echo Park Spring Fling paper pad. And then this will just glue directly on top. And that's going to layer down right over top of the oval. Just like that. Next, I'm going to take some of the Queen & Company layered flowers, and I am going to apply them on the front of this card. For the inside of the card, I stamped the sentiment, "You are wonderful in every way," in the strawberry color box ink by the Stamps of Life, the same that I used for the other card. For this card, I'm going to be using the Echo Park 6x6 paper pad Spring Fling, as well as the Echo Park 8x8 paper pad Dots and Stripes. It's the spring collection. And I'm also using craft cardstock, which I cut down to an A2 size, folded it in half, just like this. And the paper from here is this paper, which I cut down just to fit on top of my A2 size card base. This is measuring about 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm also going to be using this paper, which is from the Spring Fling paper pad. And I just cut this down to it's about 3 inches. And I didn't bother cutting the other side because when I glue this on, I'm just going to trim off any excess that I might have. So that's going to layer just like that. And I also am using a piece of cardstock. This is actually from the Doodlebug Hello Sunshine collection, which I've already cut out into a scalloped circle using one of the foundation dies from the Queen & Company, which is this one. So I've already cut that down. So I'm going to take this flowered sheet of pattern paper and I'm going to apply glue. And I'm going to attach it so that it's positioned in the middle of the pink paper. Try and get it nice and straight and press it down. Then if there's any excess left over, which there's just a tiny bit here, I'm just going to trim off that excess. And again, then just press it down really well. And this is going to be adhered to the top of this card base. I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back of this layer. And once I peel up that tape, I'm going to stick this layer down right on top of my A2 size card base and pressing down really well. I'm going to add some border decorations using this tape. These are long strands of tape. These are from Crazy Creations. And they look like this when you peel them back. And you can use them just to accent your card. Just like that. So just to add some distinction here, I'm just going to layer this directly on that line that separates these two layers. And I'm going to do another one at the bottom. Next, I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to put it right there on the left side of my card. So I'm going to take a piece of the polka dot paper that came from the same Dots and Stripes Echo Park paper pad as this pink paper, and I'm also going to take my die from Queen and Company of the mixer and I'm going to cut that just like that. So here's the die cut piece of the mixer. And now I'm going to take a piece of silver cardstock and I'm ready to do my shaker piece. And this is the shaker piece that came in the kit. And I'm going to take the middle part out. That we can save for another time if we need to use adhesive foam. We're going to peel back the bottom layer. And I'm going to stick that right down to the bottom of this mixer. Just like that. Now I want it to look like that the bowl is, I should say that the mixing element is actually inside the bowl. So I'm going to cut this piece off. Just like that. And I'm going to glue it down so that it is right in that inside of that bowl. So I put my liquid glue on the back. And I'm just going to place it so that it sticks right on the inside of that bowl. Now I'm ready to add my shaker bits. For the shaker bits, I'm going to make sure that I incorporate similar colors that are in the actual card stock. So these are the two colors that I'm going to be using. I'm also going to incorporate some of the just the clear gemstones here, or the crystals. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding these. Now these are from Queen and Company. These are just left over from a class that I had taken in the past. So I've taken some of their classes at the Stampin' Scrapbook Expo, and I just had some left over. And let's incorporate a few of those. I don't want to fill it too much because I want you to be able, the person to be able to see that little mixer in there. I think that's so cute. Okay, now I'm going to take my acetate that comes with the kit, and I'm going to peel off this top layer. Now the foam is sticky, and I'm going to stick the acetate right directly on that foam. And now I'm going to cut around to get rid of this excess paper. Now I'm going to add some glue to the actual mixing bowl stand. I put a little bit of tape on there as well, but I'm just adding some glue where I couldn't get the tape. And I'm going to apply that directly to the center of this scalloped circle. Now I'm ready to adhere my mixing bowl, and I want to make sure that it is lined up directly with the bottom part of this piece. And let me go ahead and make sure I have extra glue on that piece so that it's not flopping around. All right, so I'm going to add some double-sided tape to the back of the bowl. I'm going to stick this down, aligning that element that's in the inside, and just press down really well. And I like how those silver colors back there, they match the border here. Everything matches. The beads match all the paper. Everything matches nicely. Okay, next I took this die that was in the kit, and I cut out again the silver paper with that die, and this is just going to lay directly over that to give this mixing bowl a nice finished look. So next I'm going to take the self-adhesive foam sheets from Queen & Company. This is the neutral pack. They do come in other colors as well. This pack just has all neutrals, so there's some white, some black, some gray, and again some black. So I'm actually going to be using the solid white and the gray glitter, or the silver glitter. And then I'm going to take the Sentiment Stackers 2 dies. These are a set of dies that come with the shadow layer as well as the outlines for the words, and it also comes with a stamp set. It has Wish Big, It's Your Birthday, You Are in My Prayers, Welcome Baby, Sweet Little One, Best Wishes to You from Me, You're Awesome, True Story, Teacher, Thank You So Much, You're Awesome, and Joy to You from Me. So I'm going to use the Wish Big, It's Your Birthday. And I'm going to cut the shadow layer out of the glitter cardstock or the glitter foam. So I'm just going to cut down to size the amount that I need. And I'm going to do the same thing with the white. This is going to be the outline of the words. And I'll just cut down to size the amount that I need. And then those will be run directly through my die cut machine. So I'm going to lay these down. And I'm going to run these through. This is my diamond press, which I was able to pick this up at the HSN outlet store, and I got it for really cheap. I think I got it for like $8. And it cuts out the foam perfectly. Look at this. See that? All right, so I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to now do the same thing with the shadow layer. And let's see, and look at that, cut that right out. So they're my shadow pieces. Now I'm ready to layer these letters directly on top of the shadow. You can see that when they come out of the die cut, they come out as individual letters. So you just have to peel the adhesive off. Well, the W came out as an individual letter. It looks like the rest of this word wish is together. So I'm going to peel the adhesive off and get this little piece out of there. And don't forget the dot. Ooh, that's really tiny. But it's there. So there's my word wish. And let's go to the next word. I just love this adhesive foam that you can just put this through your die cut, and it has the backing already has the adhesive on it. I love this. This is the first time I've actually used this. And I will probably be using more of this. And I'm just poking the back side to get the dot out because I don't want to poke the foam and attempt getting a hole in it. So, all right, so there's my Wish Big. And I'm gonna add this to my card just like this. And the nice thing again about this foam is the back side has adhesive on it too. So I'm gonna add that, just peel it off, and add that to my card. Now I'm going to take the stamp set, It's Your Birthday, and I'm going to put that on a block. And I'm going to stamp that on the inside of this card. I'm using my VersaFine black ink. So let me get that on there nice and dark. And it's gonna go right in the middle. There it is. The last thing I'm gonna do is take these Goosebumps self-adhesive embellishments, and these match the same blue color as that pattern paper, and I'm just gonna add a few down at the bottom. And there's the card. So here are the cards that I made, and there are still enough foam pieces to make 8 more of these cards. I also want to point out that this particular card with the apron, the actual set comes with another piece, like a pocket piece that you can put over the apron. My set did not include that, that's why it's not on there. But if you go on Queen & Company's website, you'll see that some of their examples do have that pocket piece. So here's one card. Here's the purse. Oh, and then the inside, hope your day is fabulous. Wish big, it's your birthday. And here's the mom card. You are wonderful in every way. So I hope you liked my video. If you did, give me a like, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Lisa Mears Card Designs, and follow me on Instagram at Lisa Mears Card Designs for more card inspiration. Bye-bye.